What's going on, everybody? It's Modern Micro, and we're back with another video. The Pokemon market is just booming, absolutely booming. Everything you see is either at all-time highs, past all-time highs, or about to hit it. So, just off the rip, this top five video is gonna be a little bit difficult. Some of these might be a little bit of a stretch, but y'all will have to hear me out on it. I did do the same exact thing last month, and those cards have done really well. Um, but nonetheless, we're back with another top five video, and right today we'll just be doing singles. I know I did singles as well last month alongside sealed. Sealed is a lot more difficult to find in terms of deals and things of that nature. But I want to, you know, in coordinates, in ordinance with the sealed product going up in value, I feel like some chase cards also need, that sort of premium alongside the sealed product getting its bid. And so off rip, we're gonna go to number one, and we're gonna talk about Cynthia's Garchomp, one of the SIRs in Destined Rivals. One of the honestly nicest cards. I love trainer Pokemon. I love these tag team esque kind of cards, and Cynthia's Garchomp really beautiful. It looks like they're in a stadium fighting. So beautiful card. Garchomp really enjoyed by people. Really popular Pokemon. But we see here on the 1 year chart back in October, and I love looking back at October for prices, just because that was when our last quote unquote peak was, where the quote unquote bull market stopped into a bear market into December, or what people thought was a bear market. What we know now is just a pullback, and just a higher low. But nonetheless, had this pullback down to $200, consolidated around there, and now it's getting its legs back up. Sitting right now, market price at 250, selling as high as 270. I don't know, guys. I think this is a $350 card. Don't look any further. I know it was low volume, only 25 sold here at the top, and then some more bought down here, but I'll just say how it is. If this was priced at, for what I know now, looking back at history, if they were priced this high, it was for a reason. So I think your first target would probably be 300, 310, 320. But then expect 350 to go alongside that. I don't think we're getting a lot of big Destined Rivals reprints. I know we're getting the ETBs at Costco, um, but that's not until a couple more months. Um, and anyways, the ETBs themselves, they're selling for around 240. The Pokemon Center ETBs are above $500. The booster bundles, which I told you guys to buy in the $50 range, is now at hovering around 75, almost $80 a bundle. Um, so I think for this card to not be over $300 right now, I think that's a good pickup. It maybe not your best value, because you do anticipate this spike getting touched again and going past it, but I think it's quality, right? It's not a card that was pumped and dumped, and it's not a good card. It's a really nice card. Cynthia, really known. Garchomp, really enjoyed by Pokemon fans, and it's a good card. So Cynthia's Garchomp, that's my number one. And then we're gonna stay with Destined Rivals. We're gonna look at Ethan's Ho-Oh. Similar situation. Ethan's Ho sitting right now at $173. Most recent sale at 146. I think any pickup below, you know, 200, 180, um, is maybe not 200. Any pickup below 180, I think you're set. Ho-Oh, obviously one of the the biggest legendaries there is. One of the first ever legendaries that somebody was introduced when they were barely picking up Pokemon. Ethan's pretty known, um, and it's a beautiful card, nice card. But what I want to look at is just where it was before. Obviously, low volume, not a lot sold, but it did touch the peaks of $242. Most highest sell was 287. I'm not gonna put too much weight into the 287, but I think at some point in the next year or so, this this is a $250 card. Um, as Destin Rivals ages, it's the same thing as Cynthia's Garchomp. Destin Rivals ages, it's already a high premium as is for the sealed product. Maybe we get some reprints, but the scarcity is just way too high for that to really have a huge impact. If it was in its first year of rotation, I would understand. I would understand being scared for some sort of reprints, but Destin Rivals been out for a year now. I don't think the volume of Destin Rivals coming out is gonna be huge, especially since there's so many sets ahead of it. I mean, let's look here. Destin Rivals, then you have Black Bolt, White Flare, then you get into Mega, right? That was to close off Scarlet and Violet. Then you have Mega Evolution Base, Phantasmal Flames, Ascender Heroes, Perfect Order. Like you have so many sets ahead of it, and I don't think it'll be prioritized. Yes, it's popular. Yes, but Pokemon likes their sets to be scarce, especially their good sets, and so I don't think this is a specialty set, but it's definitely a set that Pokemon will want to not, even though they did with Prismatic Evolutions, I don't think they'll immediately go back around and then do the same for Destin Rivals, right? They printed Prismatic to the floor, and then just two releases later, SV09, SV10, Destin Rivals comes out. I don't think they'll be doing a whole lot of printing, and even if they do, it's a good single, and a lot of times when reprints do happen, the singles aren't really hit all that hard, right? It would be the sealed that will get the immediate impact, and because it is Destin Rivals, not a lot of people will actually want to rip. In terms of like the actual price of the set in ordinance to the singles value, it's relatively low. It's around like $2,300 set, $2,400 set. It's not the biggest set, but the sealed does hold up really well. So I feel like any sort of reprints, many people will just often throw it in their closet and tuck it away. So, nonetheless, that's my take. Ethan's Ho, price target 250 end of year. And we'll go to number 3. Number 3, we do gotta get a little cute, right? We're gonna do a little hot take, and we're gonna go Wigglytuff IR from Phantasmal Flames. We're dumpster diving a little bit, but nonetheless, I really think this is a great card to just buy and hold. It's a really cute card. Really, just I feel like a lot of people would have some sort of demand for it. We see here that the volume is always above 300, hitting 400, 600 here in April. So there's demand for sure for this card, and it's being ripped a ton from people looking for that Charizard SIR. But I think if you want to compare, and this is a long-term hold, right? This is sitting at 650. If you want to have some sort of price target and some sort of comparison of what this card could be, well, look right here. The Wigglytuff EX Ultra Rare. Not even illustration rare. The Ultra Rare from 151. It is sitting at $960. Let's just say $10 to even it out. You view the data. I'm not too sure why one was bought for $20, but they're selling for around $10 each, right? And so as a result, I don't think I think that this could be a decent pickup. If you want to just think long term, right? It's a $6 card. You gotta have a price target of $11. Have a nice double. I'm not too sure when the time frame would be. Obviously, this ultra rare has had 4 years to really hold on and appreciate in value. But use it as a scale. If this card, for whatever reason, goes up to $20, hey, I would expect this Wigglytuff from Phantasmal Flames to go up to $20. There's not that many Wigglytuffs out there, and there's not a single Wigglytuff IR out either. It's all just um, you know, legacy cards, retired cards that aren't being printed anymore, and of that nature. And so I think this is due not just for a little pop, but next in line to have it's a little bid. Obviously, Phantasmal Flames isn't really a stack set, so alongside that, I think it could have some sort of premium maybe if people want to appreciate just a card art. But either way, it's just a little shot in the dark. Whatever happens, happens. As we see here, we have, let's see, near mint. Near mint selling around $10, or $9, $10. Things around there, and I think this will fall under that category at some point this year. $10, $11, and then what you could do, buy 10 of these. As soon as you get your double, sell half of them, keep the other five, and just hold on to them. Hold on to them, and they paid the ones that you sold. They paid for these cards, and you're good. So, really tough IR. Had a little bit of a run. I'll be honest. Last month, 24%, but that's what I see here. Then we have a Team Moltres, not EX, not this bad boy. I will use this as a comparison, as one of the reasons why I like this card. But boom, Team Rocket's Moltres EX, stamped, guys, stamped, the stamped card. And I have this card here as comparison. I do actually really like this card as well. As an investment, it's near its year low, and it's one of the chase cards in Destined Rivals. I don't know why it hasn't caught a bid. I wouldn't say 180 is your target price, but I think at some point this will go up to 150, and eventually $200, maybe by next year. Not by the end of this year, but by the end of this year, I could foresee 150 on this card, and then by the end of next year, get it closer to that 200 250 range. But Team Rocket's Moltres EX stamped, guys. Stamped is a $70 card. So what's the difference between these two? It's the fact that the stamped card goes into it. It's in this box. It's in the Team Rocket's Moltres UPC that is sold at GameStop exclusively. I don't think they sell it anymore. I could be wrong, but nonetheless, look at its run that it's had. Back in December, fell down at 173, close to MSRP. I mean, MSRP would have been around 150, 140. And post tax, it would have fallen on near that range. But you see it now here at $307. Most recent sale at $350. It has caught up. It has caught up from its pre-sale value, and I think this card, this stamped promo, is due for a little jump. I wouldn't say sitting at 150. I wouldn't think it would jump to 150. I don't even think it would get up to anything all that astronomic. But could it catch up to this one? Sure. Could they move in tandem with each other? Sure. Um, so that's already, around a 20%, 30% upside just to be on the same level as this card. And it's stamped, it's limited, right? So I think this is something that a lot of people have just overlooked. Is this stamped Team Rocket's Moltres card? It's a really dope card. Stamp. I wouldn't I wouldn't overthink this. I wouldn't overcomplicate it. Down 50%. Well, that's not the most accurate, but hell yeah, I would 100% buy this. Just store it away. Buy 10 of these. Buy even buy 5 of these. Just to be in the game, have some skin in the game, and see where it goes. We seen with the Prismatic Evolutions Dollar General ETBs. A lot of people discounted that card because of the ugly $40 stamp that was on it. Now, more recently, with the Prismatic ETB reprints starting at Costco, a lot of people would want to favor those Dollar General $40 ETBs. And they've held their value really well in comparison to the normal Prismatic ETBs, which is really interesting to me. How history tells you, how people will, kind of change. And this stamp isn't even ugly, right? We see other stamp cards do similar things, and it's limited, right? It's a UPC Team Rockets Moltres UPC, very difficult to not only find, but then really expensive as well. $300 in comparison to, an ETB that is, always going to be retailing at $40-$50. Right now, the Prismatic 150, 160, and for that UPC to, and this card to be, this low and still be this special, right, in comparison to the card that is already in the set of $100, sitting at $100. I like my odds. Um, so Team Rocket's Moltres. That's number 4. Moving on, we're gonna go to Perfect Order. I'm gonna jump the gun. I'm gonna, catch the falling knife. This is Rowlet from Perfect Order. First ever IR for Rowlet, and I think it's gonna catch a little bit of a bid. I really like this card. It's Rowlet's again first ever IR, and I think a lot of people who enjoyed the Decidueye, getting to my age, I'm 20 years old, but if you're a little bit older, 25, 26, you still grew up with Pokemon X and Y, and you'd have Rowlet on you likely had Rowlet or Greninja on your team, and so as a result, this card would be in demand, and another thing, going back to what I said about Phantasmal Flames, the set sucks. I mean, yes, it does have a couple nice cards. I'm not a big Meowth guy, so just off rip, that's not really me. But like none of these cards, except for maybe Zygarde, even though I like the 25% Zygarde more than the full version Zygarde. He's all right, but we see here we just have Mega Starmie, Meowth, Clefable, and Zygarde, and so Yveltal could be another, but that's an ultra rare, illustration rare Dedenne. I don't see many people liking Dedenne, and it's being valued higher than Rowlet. And then you have Esper, Decidueye, all ultra rares or low in demand IRs. But you see Rowlet here sitting at $6. You telling me that Rowlet can't catch up, and let's say to this Mega Clefable ultra rare at $8, or even the Mega Zygarde ultra rare at $12, the Mega Starmie ultra rare at $14, the Meowth ultra rare at $20. I'm not too sure that's all that accurate. I think Rowlet being down here at $6, I think it's a clean double to just be on par with this Mega Zygarde Ultra Rare. I mean, do people care that much, and do people appreciate Zygarde that much that it's gonna give the Ultra Rare a little bit of a premium just for being the chase set and being the Ultra Rare of the set? I think eventually people are gonna come to the senses they would like Rowlet. They'll pay up a little bit more, and then they'll evaluate the set and be like, hey, we want a little bit of a winner, a little bit of a special card in this set that's gonna have you a little bit excited, even if it's not the top chase card. And I think that's going to be Rowlet. We see here in, where is it? Would it be? Could it be Stellar Crown? I think it is Stellar Crown. Let's look at Stellar Crown for a second. And this will make my point. The two top chases are illustration rares. I know it's Squirtle and Bulbasaur. I understand that these cards, these cards are from Gen 1 starters. I understand 100%. But it can happen. It can happen. The illustration rares can catch a bid just for being illustration rares. Even if they're illustration rares. And so obviously this is a 1-of-1. This set is not the best. I understand 100%. But again, Perfect Order isn't the best set. I think, these cards, not to say that Rowlet to $100. I'm not saying that. But I am saying, Rowlet can catch a little bit of a premium to just jump in just because. So I like Rowlet here. Rowlet at $6. Rowlet IR from Perfect Order, and we'll see where that goes. And talking about Stellar Crown, we have one more for y'all. As always, we have the Stellar Crown Pokemon Center exclusive. In terms of just a normal ETB for Stellar Crown, it's jumped in value. It has jumped. It was sub $100, guys. In the past 6 months, we've seen this below $90. But before the beginning of last month, right? Just 2 months ago, it was sitting at $90. Although that was a huge spike, 365 items. But we seen here, just an appreciation on these Stellar Crown ETBs, and they're sitting at around 125. The highest sold at 145, but 127. You're probably gonna get anything in the ballpark of 120, 125. Good price. But the Pokemon Center ETBs have not really caught on. We've seen the 1 year chart here. They're gone. They're past the October highs of $90 before. But for the Pokemon Center ETBs, that's not necessarily the case. Stellar Crown Pokemon Center ETBs were hovering at 185, 190, and then obviously ended up coming crashing down at the 105 level, 110, and we're hovering at 160. But that's still a good jump from here, about $30 more, 20% upside, and it's a buy and hold for me. I will say I do have this in my collection, and I think if we want to say that the normal ETB is 20% higher than its previous high right here at $93, we see it. Yeah, maybe it did hover in that range and it did appreciate more, but that's fine. So eventually I feel like this will catch up. We want to see 20% higher from this high. That's $40 from there, about a $240 box. $240 Stellar Crown ETB. We're sitting at 160, 165 right now. So do as you like. I like the set. I like the box. I think the set is a little bit underrated. Pokemon Center ETBs are always gonna be in demand. People are gonna want them. It's an easy buy for me, um, and I wouldn't have to lose sleep at night over it. So nonetheless, as a um, you know to round it all out, my number one spot, Cynthia's Garchomp. I think quality will always remain on top. Um, Cynthia's Garchomp, I think, is a $350 card at some point. Um, and I like it to be the not just the second best chase card in this set, but then also, you know, appreciate with the set value, the sealed set value. Then we have Ethan's Ho-Oh, same thing. You have the peak of 250, 240. I don't think it'll get that quick of a bid that as soon as this year, but that would be my price target. Um, Market sitting at around 170. Wigglytuff, use a comparison of this guy, $10. Just work alongside it. Compare these cards. I think it's an easy buy and hold. If this ultra rare is going to have a little bit of a premium just for being a original 151 character or 151 Pokemon, I think its own IR should have a little bit of premium as well. So see going forward, Destined Rivals stamped Team Rocket's Moltres, the normal Team Rocket's Moltres, easy buys. This one below $75 and this one below $100. They can move in tandem with each other. I personally believe, if a gun to my head, which one will appreciate more in value, I actually think the stamped one will, just off of scarcity, and it is cheaper. So do your own investments, do your own research. That's what I fall to believe in. And then we have the Stellar Crown ETBs, Pokemon Center, and honestly the normal ETB as well. It has made a run, but retired set, and it's not that as bad as people say. And then the Rowlet, of course, Rowlet IR from Perfect Order. So that's how we're gonna work around it. That's how we're gonna see it. I don't even see Rowlet on this. So that's how I see it. Things unfolding. It's really hard to find good singles nowadays because a lot of the singles have just jumped and ran, especially you see 151. Prismatic. I think I remember, I'm not too sure if I did mention it or not, but I remember saying the Sunbreon was a good buy, sub $1,000. It's running to almost $2,000 at this point. It's sitting around I think $1,700, $1,800. But that was the easiest buy of our lives, is just looking for quality. Maybe you don't want to buy this $6 Rowlet, and that's fine. You could just look at the quality and just go with the tide. But now that there's not that many options like that anymore, we want to see not a little bit of dumpster diving, but just other options. And I think we picked out a decent amount. Some flyers and some quality as well. But nonetheless, either way, do your own research. I'm just a guy on the internet, likes these things, and does deep dives and all that sort, looks analytically. But ultimately, that could always just backfire on me, and maybe be a bad investment just because a new set comes out and it has the same Pokemon, a better, more rare card of that same Pokemon, and just throws the whole investment thesis away. But nonetheless, it's been Modern Micro. Love y'all. Let me know if you want more of these top 5, top 6, for singles, for sealed, in the future. Let me know how you guys enjoyed this video. Any comments, concerns? I think I fixed the audio issue finally. I thought it was really loud initially, so I dumbed it down. then I still got comments about the audio being really bad, and having to really just raise the audio. So I just I just put my balls on the wall and put the audio all the way up. So if now I'm a little too loud, fuck y'all, I don't care.